This is a 1964 Honda CB77 Superhawk that I just finished restoring for the auction that's coming up in January for Mecum, so it'll be in Las Vegas. This bike's scarlet red. They came in 4 colors: red, white, and blue, and black. And this one was originally black, but I like red better. They don't have paint codes, so it doesn't matter if you change the color. The red ones always sell better because, well, they look better. This is a really good looking bike, and it took a ton of time. It was in good shape, but every single thing had to be refinished, polished, buffed. But I retained all the original parts with the exception of the seat. And I have the original seat was in really good shape, but the trim was not so great on it, and the seat foam had deteriorated like they do. But 1964 was a long time ago. This is what they call an early model. Has these flat handlebars from the factory. That's original equipment bars. Kind of hard to drive. I rode it about 15 miles today. It's a little different. Friction style dampener. Crank that down. The tighter you crank that, the more tension it puts on the little clutch plate here, and will take any wiggle and jiggle out of your steering. And you can back it off if you don't prefer any at all. The gauges are my favorite. This is the best gauge set of any Honda. Tachometer and speedometer go in opposite directions. Odometer is vertical. Headlight switch on the headlight. Bucket itself. High beam indicator, neutral light. Really basic bike. These were the very first sport bikes, so this is the great granddaddy of all your CBRs right here. These had double leading shoe rear brakes, which is really unusual. One of the few Hondas to have that, or few motorcycles period. You get a lot better stopping power that way. Same on the front. These old Hondas were made to last. Even the cables, the little silver thing here is actually a grease fitting. You would put your grease gun there on the back and pump some grease to it. You could also move the position of your foot peg and your shifter. So this is in the front most. You can move it to the middle. If you want to get really crazy, you could take off your passenger's peg and move it all the way to the back. Of course, you'd have to change out your rod there on your shifter linkage. But it said in the owner's manual that I've got, the original one, that you could actually do that. So that was a neat little deal. Stainless steel mufflers on these early ones, so rust wasn't an issue. These held up pretty good over the years. I got a few dings here and there, but nothing major. Kickstarter kicks forward on these. So your kick lever comes all the way around and it kicks forward and it comes all the way back in to get out of the way. But some of the things I noticed on this old Honda that was neat, and I wish they did it now, like on this sprocket nut, see the little line there, and what that is it corresponds with the hole that's already drilled in the bolt, so you don't got to look to see where you're at with your castle nut. You just line up the groove in the castle nut with the groove cut in the bolt, and your cotter key will go right through. Very thoughtful. That's considerate of them. Bless their hearts. Point cover, Type 1. What's Type 1, you ask? Well, Type 1 engines, like in this Superhawk and in the Scrambler, have a 180 crank. So the pistons don't come up and down together like the Dream. They alternate. So the engine sounds completely different. Dual carburetors instead of one like the Dream. 2 sets of points instead of 1 set of points like the Dream would have. So if you ride one of these back to back to a Dream, no comparison. They're both 4 speeds, both 305s, but these are much quicker and much smoother running. Top speed on these, they claim in the book 96. I had one that I had high compression pistons in years ago, and it would almost do 100 flat out. I took this one up to 80, and that was fast enough. I felt like I was going to go back in time, but fire it up here so you can hear it. Electric start too. Very quiet running engine too. You just barely hear the timing chain in this thing and the valves opening and closing. They really have their stuff together. So like I said, this thing came completely apart. Engine 2, did some upgrades to the transmission, new piston rings, cleaned out all the sludge from setting over the years. But it's all done other than putting the mirrors on. And they'll be ready for pictures and ready to be consigned to Mecum.